All right, Dollywood Project 2026, the indoor ride beyond this fence back here, or that will be beyond this fence right here, is really starting to take shape. I got some good views from the train earlier that I'll kind of voice over in a second. I'm on a little bit of a tight time frame today right now, but of course I did want to bring you this construction update, so I'll kind of show you what can be seen from the park here just quickly, and then I'll do a longer voiceover of the parts from the train when we get to that part. So go more in depth there once I get home. But anyways, I say this every time I'm here, that this is where the path will continue. We'll go kind of to the left here around Big Bear Mountains turnaround. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with all that path work. Is there going to be interesting stuff to look at along there theming wise? Is there going to be like a small snack stand or gift shop or something? Or is it just going to be a concrete path all the way back there? Because the actual building is all the way on the other side of that turnaround. So it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing. You'll be able to see some stuff covered up on the other side of that fence. It's not ride vehicles or anything. Saw from the train, it appears to be just pre-made components for like foundations and stuff. Still very interesting stuff, but nothing that gives us like a crazy good idea of exactly what this attraction is going to be. But overall, there's a ton of material kind of sitting around the site over there, but it's mostly stuff like steel and rebar and stuff that doesn't exactly give us a picture of the ride. Just kind of tells us about the building and the supports for the ride. However, they have started, they have the whole plot for where the building's gonna go dug out by now. It's much bigger than I expected it to be. And they have tons of foundations down. We kind of have the area we assume is going to be the station that I saw last time, but there's foundations placed in, I assume, to hold the ride track or whatever. And those are placed already in several different locations throughout what will be the building. So it looks like they're kind of starting with a build the ride, then build the building around it kind of approach. But we'll see. Well, I'm moving, unfortunately. This is probably my last time here for a while. But some people that come will see exactly what construction method they end up taking. But so you can kind of get an idea there, kind of looking a very vague idea of where I guess the ride track's going to be and stuff once you see that plot. But overall, not a ton to really make much sense of, but at the same time, a lot of progress has taken place. So be interested to see what some people that are really good at like nitty gritty analysis can come up with looking at some of these pictures. So looking at this footage from the train here, you can see just how far back the building appears to be set off from the existing pass where Big Bear Mountain is, which is probably what I find most interesting here. I'm really interested to see what they do with this whole plaza up here, if there's going to be like another flat ride or two up there, or if they're going to do a ton of theming, or like what exactly that's going to look like, because they do have a ton of plaza space, it looks like, in front of where this building's going. We'll pass a mysterious crate. I'm not really sure what's in there, but then some of the covered just, foundation stuff that we had seen earlier. I was really hoping that we would see some ride equipment on site right now, because Dollywood did receive imports from Germany of amusement ride equipment a couple of weeks ago, maybe like a month or two ago at this point. And we think that Mach Rides is the manufacturer here, so we think that they already have some parts for the ride, although that could be some of the foundation stuff we're seeing here now. I'm not really sure how much of that stuff comes from the manufacturer and how much of it is just bought, generically here stateside. I would think for a lot of that foundation stuff, it makes more sense to acquire it here, because it's probably, much cheaper to get it here and not have to ship it across seas. And it's a more generic building material that is used for a lot of things outside of roller coasters. So I figure that that's a part that they just the basis of the supports probably don't come from the manufacturers themselves. But I don't know. I've never gone through the process of buying a ride like this, obviously, so I don't really know what all that entails. And yeah, as the building plot kind of starts to come into view here, I am just, every time I see this, I've seen it like 5 times now, and I'm just increasingly impressed by how much land area this building's taking up. It's going to be a big building for hopefully a pretty big indoor ride, which would be awesome to see. 43,000 square feet is the size that they have filed permits for, which will definitely make it the largest attraction building in the park. I don't know if it's bigger than some of the park's theaters, because they do have some pretty massive theaters, but actually looking at this plot now, I do think this is bigger than any of the feeders that they have as well, though I could be wrong. As the train kind of comes all around the corner, you can see the trench that we saw last time that a lot of viewers predicted, and I kind of agree with. It's probably for the rides station, or maybe some kind of maintenance area, vehicle storage, something where you would need, something where you would need to be able to get under it on a regular basis for maintenance or inspections. And if we pause here, you'll see like a concrete wall on the edge of that trench closest to the train tracks, and then on either side of that concrete wall there are lots of foundational concrete, like pillar foundations that completely run the length of the outer envelope of the building. So I believe those are probably the foundations for the support columns that will hold up this outside wall on the side closest to the train tracks. Again, I don't know. It's so hard to tell exactly what's going on at this point in the construction with us knowing so little about the ride, but those do seem to be for the exterior wall on this side. But as we keep moving, you'll be able to see several additional trenches that have been dug, and there's also, some of them are hard to see actually from the camera angles, but there's lots of additional foundation work going on that looks like it may be foundation work for supporting, the ride track itself. And that is the hard part about doing analysis at this point with us knowing so little about the ride, is that it's hard to tell which of these foundations are for, the ride track and which of them are for, the building itself. It doesn't look like we have anything for the central support system of the building itself, but we do have some for those exterior walls, and then some that appear to be for ride track, kind of more centralized there. It is interesting that even the ride track supports seem to kind of be, at this point, going around the perimeter of the building and leaving the middle empty. I don't know if maybe this will be a Blazing Fury type situation where it kind of winds its way around and up the structure before going back down at the end, and maybe the middle area there is where the queue line is going to be, the indoor portion of the queue line. I don't exactly know. Again, we don't really know what's going on here, so. And yeah, you've got what appears to be a lot of building materials kind of stacked off to the side there, so hopefully we will see those being used pretty soon, maybe, hopefully. Obviously, foundation work is some of the most expensive and time-consuming part of a building project like this, but, obviously it's much more exciting when we get to see actual stuff going up. I'm not really confident enough in my analysis skills to say much more about this than I already have, so I'll just kind of leave some of these shots here, and y'all can take a look and decide what you think about them. But yeah, here's what that construction site looks like as of this past weekend.
It took 14 years in 1977 before she was sold to an East Disney theme park by the name of $0 Street to the Sea. It was named Argent 70 at the head, until she became known as Cinderella. Come on, first floor, let him do like to be like that. Y'all better hold on tight. He's not looking and he's going. As we head on up behind now, next I'm going to play some tell y'all a little bit more about the history that Eagles came from, wherever the Eagles came from.
All right, since it is open now, I thought I'd go ahead and show you the new Wilderness Pass restaurant. It opened last week, I believe, on May 3rd, I believe. Not sure, though. I do like that they kept the old ivy-covered arch here from the old plaza. As you can see, things look pretty different once we actually get in here. So you'll see just a ton of seating. They covered every possible square inch of the whole area with seating. You can even see some kind of pushed up against the wall over there, just like anywhere they could fit seats. It's like they went to their supplier for these tables and were like, we'll just take your entire stock, which is actually kind of a good thing. A lot of Dollywood's restaurants, especially near the front of the park, have a seating problem where it's like there's nowhere to sit, and it seems like they're trying to solve that problem here just by overkill, which is fine with me. Overall, this area looks nice. I know some people were concerned that the seating would be a little bit generic, and I guess it kind of is, but I think they dressed it up at least decently. They kept the, vine ivy covered archway there, and then we have this new water feature here. This is very different than the water feature that used to be in this plaza before the restaurant. It used to be a pretty tall fountain. Now you've got like a small fountain coming off this little rock structure here, which I actually think looks better. That might be a hot take, but I do think this looks better, so. When you get to the front here, this is where you go into the main entrance here in order. They have some queue space set up outside here. Obviously, it's not very busy today, so they're not using it. And there you go. I've already eaten here twice today, so I'm not going back in the building right now, but I'll show some clips of what it looks like in there in just a second. If you're wondering about the meal options, what's served, here you go. I really like the look of this building on the outside. I do wish that they had gone with a more creative name than this past restaurant. But the sign looks really nice. It's really pretty in this area. I like the colors they've chosen for like the roof and the sign and the doorways and stuff. It's a really appealing color palette that matches the area super well. So once you actually go inside the restaurant here, it is very Cedar Fair. I was actually kind of surprised by that. This feels exactly like, and looks exactly like you see a newer Cedar Fair restaurant looking like. And even the menu looks straight out of like Carowinds or something, which is not a bad thing. Cedar Fair does excellent with that stuff, and it's cool to see kind of a Dollywood take on it. But anyways, once you go in, the line splits in both directions. It's an identical line on both sides. They only have the right side open today because it's not a very busy day, but on busier days, they have the availability to open up both sides to increase capacity, which is nice. And again, very similar to what you'd see at a Cedar Fair park like Carowinds, so interesting for sure. But yeah, and you just kind of go down the line. They'll kind of have their plate out there, and they'll ask you what entree you want, what sides you want, all that stuff, like cafeteria style, and then they'll hand you your plate at the end. And once you're handed your plate, you exit the building over here, and this whole big covered area over here is just like the checkouts. So that's just where you pay, and then you can see you fill up at the soda machines at the end. And it's kind of weird. It's like the space to pay is like the same size as the space to get your food. It doesn't seem like the most efficient use of space for me, but whatever, is what it is. So see on the left side here, again, not open today, but the setup is basically identical, where it's just where you pay for your food once you go outside, and then drinks at the very end. Only difference is this is turned, obviously, to earn 90 degrees since there's not space to have it shoot out into the midway there, so we just had to turn it 90 degrees. But yeah, that's it. Then once you come around the very far side here, over by Fire Chaser, this is where you will find your counter for mobile order pickup. So there you go. I have not done that, but I did look at the app, and it does appear that that is available right now, that you can do that. And then here's where you fill up for mobile orders. So there you go. You can see in the little outdoor areas here where you pay. We have fans, we have heaters in the ceiling, which is certainly nice. So all good stuff. Outside the entrances where you get your forks and stuff, and look, they have recycling. You don't see that very often in Dollywood, so that's cool. I ended up eating here twice today, even though it's very expensive. It's like 25 bucks for a platter, which is actually kind of in line with the Cedar Fair pricing at restaurants like this, because they usually only give you one side, and then they charge you like $8 for an extra side, whereas here you get two sides with a platter. So the value is actually not that bad compared to other theme parks. What's bad is that you have to get the whole platter. If you just want an entree on one side and no dessert, you cannot. You could probably, you'd think that would be a more reasonable, monetary rate, but you do have to get the full platter, which I did do twice, really just because, this is probably my only time to get to eat at this restaurant since I'm moving soon. So I was like, we'll do it twice in one day. We'll go out with a bang there. So, but yeah, I thought the food was very good. I think it was I would definitely say that's the best quick service restaurant in the park now in terms of food quality. It's just the fact that the quantity of food is so huge, it may not always be the best if you're just looking for a quick lunch. And you do have to pay for that. So monetarily, I can't really say it's the best option, but it's certainly the best food in the park. It was really good. The first time I got the barbecue braised beef with mac and cheese and hush puppies, which were all incredible. Some of my favorite mac and cheese, great beef, kind of tasted like pot roast. And then, and the hush puppies are very good as well. Unironically, some of the best hush puppies I've had, even outside of a theme park. Then the second time I got the catfish, collard greens, and cheesy grits. Those were all very good as well. The collard greens I thought were a little too flavorful, honestly. Personally, I would have preferred just greens. That's kind of my one complaint with the restaurant, is that there's, as you saw on the menu, there's not really many options for like vegetables or anything. But I mean, nobody comes to Dollywood to eat healthy, so it is what it is. And it's interesting, you get a dessert with the platter. The options were like, they had like a bread pudding, apple cobbler, like a little pecan pie, you know, small stuff. But it is nice that that includes that, because typically at a theme park like this, they would charge a ridiculous amount for dessert. Granted, the platter's expensive, but at least it includes a dessert. Also, the biscuit. Every meal comes with a biscuit. It's the best theme park biscuit I've ever had, and it's like huge for some reason. Very good. Like if you go to Harmony Hall at Carowinds, they usually give you a biscuit, but it's like this big. This is like big biscuit, really big. So anyways, yeah, I was very impressed by the food quality. The pricing's a little questionable, but the restaurant looks pretty. Good food quality, all that stuff. So overall, I'd say it's a big thumbs up, a big win. That's my quick mini review there. Not surprising at all, considering that they have not said anything about this on any of their social media channels or emails or anything. But as you can see, Blazing Fury is still closed. It's been closed since like, I don't know, like September or October last year for some kind of refurb. We thought it would be reopened at some point this spring, but it still has not, and still no update on that, so I don't know what's going on. I was really hoping I would get one more ride on Blazing Fury before I leave, because just like the train, this is one of those uniquely Dollywood rides. You can't experience anything like this really anywhere else other than like Fire in the Hole at Silver Dollar City, which has been redone recently. So I don't know, I was really hoping, really excited to get one more ride, tell this thing goodbye before I moved. And when I found out it was going to get a refurb this year, I was like, oh cool, so I get to ride it in its best form right before I leave. But apparently not, because here we are like mid-May and still no update, still closed. So who knows if it's even reopening this year at this point. Exact same sign. Nothing's changed. Very sad. Yeah, it's a little odd for this being, again, one of the, or I think it is the only Dollywood opening day, or at least the only Silver Dollar City opening day attraction that's left at this point. One of only a few opening day Dollywood attractions left. I think River Rampage is also from opening day of Dollywood as well. But point is, this is a very classic ride that's very historic for the park. And with it being its 40th anniversary this year, it's very weird that they've not talked about this at all. It almost just feels a little bit, I guess disrespectful is the right word to some extent. Like they're making such a big deal that it's the park's 40th anniversary celebration, and they don't have their classic dark ride open that everybody loves. So I don't know. Anyways, here's the new parking lot F. You can see the priority lots right behind that fence way back there. Then there's bus parking there, and then here's lot F. So there you go. So yeah, it comes all the way back here. Pretty big. It's actually a bigger parking lot than I even thought it was going to be. So again, this lot opened up a couple weeks ago, but this is the first time I'm actually parking in it. So still smells like new asphalt. But yeah, it's a pretty generic theme park parking lot. But you do have lots of light posts up and stuff, which is nice, because some of the older Dollywood parking lots can get a little dark at night. So it's nice to see something modern, if you will, parking wise. I guess it's just a parking lot. Although one thing to note is there is no tram service when you park in lot F. You do have to hike all the way to the entrance by yourself, so just keep that in mind. The views are pretty awesome up here, because this is on top of a hill above the main parking lots. The main parking lots are down there. So you get some incredible views of the park and rides that you don't get from the normal parking lot. You even get some views of the mountains over there. Beautiful. It is kind of weird, you have to hike back down a hill to get into the park. And as of now, you do use the previous preferred and group parking ticket, entry booth, however you want to call it, and security up here. I assume they'll redo the whole entry area at some point sooner rather than later. But as of now, if you park on the new lot, you just use the preferred entrance.